archives of unencrypted messages, because otherwise you can't read them afterwards. And then I'm going to encrypt the message here using your public S/MIME certificate. And I'm going to sign the message with my private S/MIME certificate. I'm going to send it to you, and because you have my public key and you have your private key, you can verify my signature with the public key that you have from me, and you can decrypt the message with the private key that you own. So this is where we typically use S/MIME certificates. An additional advantage is if we talk a little bit about the concepts behind the two encryption technologies. PGP is a web of trust. I trust a certificate, and because a couple of other people trust the certificate as well, probably 20 people trust the certificate, you know 5 of those people, therefore you say, well, then I can trust that certificate as well. This is the concept behind PGP. Pretty good idea if we are talking about groups of people that know each other or have similar rules how to deal with encrypted with encryption certificates. S/MIME has a different approach. S/MIME has a central authority which is distributing the certificates, and because I have a certificate from a central certificate authority and I'm going to sign my message with that certificate, you can ask the certificate authority whether the certificate that you find is a valid certificate. Very much like the system that we use today for international traveling. You have a passport, and because that passport has been issued by American authorities, and because we guys here in Europe know what actually describes an American passport, we can double check and see whether your passport is valid when you come to Europe. And you do basically the same with my European passport when I come to America, probably next time for Lotus Sphere in January. So S/MIME certificates are basically the same. The different certificate authorities are comparable to the different countries who have different rules and regulations how to issue a passport, but in the end it is about, is that passport valid? Yeah? And of course the authorities here in Europe are trained on how to identify a valid passport. To be honest, I could probably not identify an American passport. If it looks like one, I would most likely accept it, but I'm not trained in identifying false certificates. And that's basically the same what we do with S/MIME certificates as well. And the the certificate authorities are called VeriSign and so on. So you all know them. The Hong Kong Post Office is one of them. Like that name very much. Okay, so this is encryption, which we can use if we know that the recipient has the infrastructure in place to deal with a certain type of certificate, S/MIME or PGP. Now, the recipient in that case can either be a company using an appliance, it can be a company using IQ Suite, it can be a company that has implemented S/MIME certificates on the client level. I don't care. It doesn't make a difference to me, because the only thing that I need to know is, do I have a public key for the recipient of my message? If I do, I can encrypt it. All right, so let's have a look how this would look like in a domino environment. I'm going to talk about the right-hand side of this slide in a minute. I have a couple of VMwares here using, which I use to show you our solution. This is a Notes client. If you have a little delay, I'm very sorry about that. What I'm trying to do here is simulate the IT world on a laptop. I'm using a couple of VMwares and I'm simulating messages running through the internet. So what you cannot see is there is a Domino server in the background. There is another SMTP server running in the background. So please do not take your stopwatches out. The performance in your infrastructure will be better than what you see right now here. So let's have a look, and we're going to send an email to Jamie. Jamie is at a customer side of ours right now. The mail form is being drawn by my client. Takes a second here. As you can see, I am the IQ Suite administrator in here. I'm typing a message to Jamie. As you can see, Jamie May is at customer.net. My mail domain is iqsuite.net. And I'm going to send her a message saying group talk, and I want to show you an group talk. And this is the SMIME example. I'm just writing in, just typing hi in here so that we have a little bit of text. IQ Suite will do a couple of tricks to that email. I'm going to send it, and what is happening now, this message is, because my client is set up that way, it is the network traffic between my client and the Domino server is encrypted. And I guess that you all do that. Because this is the first line of defense. I'm using the encryption just basically on the network cable, and that's fine. On the Domino server, IQ Suite will pick up that message and will recognize that this message is going to be sent to the outside world. So what it will do is it will add my personal information at the bottom. So kind regards, Matthias Roder, phone number, and so on. It will probably add some marketing information about new events that we're going to have. I'm not quite sure how the system is set up, so that will be a small surprise for me as well. What I'm going to say is there are time-based trailers which can be switched on and off so that you don't learn that we are at Lotusphere long after Lotusphere. And there will be a legal disclaimer. So in the meantime, this message should have been sent by the Domino server. And what Jamie has to do, Jamie is using Outlook Express, as you can see here, and she has to press the send and receive button, receives a message, here it is. It says group talk SMIME, as we expected, and there are two tags added automatically by IQ Suite. As all of the messages within IQ Suite, those are fully customizable. And in a typical customer environment, I would switch those off, but I like them during my demos. So it says here, this message has been signed automatically and encrypted automatically. Let's have a look how the message looks like. There is a small security warning because I'm currently playing around with a couple of certificates. So what you can see here is now I have been typing the word hi, and IQ Suite added my personal information, including the company logo. Sorry to say this is an older company logo that we have, and my office location. Underneath that, you can see the legal disclaimer that we have in here. So these are the two informations that have been added by IQ Suite, and the whole message has been signed and encrypted automatically. The user has to do nothing for that. Just compare that with how an unsupported and not automatic process works. If Jamie presses the reply button in here, we will see that the message will be automatically signed and encrypted. Why? Because the incoming message was signed and encrypted, and Outlook Express will pick up that information. But if Jamie says she wants to write a new message and she's going to send it to the IQ Suite admin, nothing is going to happen to that message. It would be sent unencrypted, unsigned, unless Jamie presses the buttons. Yeah? If she does, of course, that would work as well because the certificates are down here. Yeah? Don't worry about the red ones because, as I said, I'm playing around with a couple of things right now, testing new features and functionalities. So this is the advantage of a server-based, rule-based system. Users do not have to worry about that. Well, actually, this is not the advantage because users don't worry about it whether you tell them or not. What the actual advantage is that you do not need to spend time on training and explaining over and over again in which situation a message has to be encrypted. What IQ Suite can do is it can pick up whether there is a credit card information inside that message. And if it finds a credit card, it will look for a certificate. And if it cannot find a certificate for the recipient, it will not send out the message. And it will notify the sender, the administrator, however you want to implement that business process within your company. Yeah? But IQ Suite can deal with that and can take away the burden from the user to actually make all of those decisions. Because we all know what happens. If a user tries to encrypt a message and it's not working, the user will send the message unencrypted. That's what's happening in a lot of the situations that I have looked at. Yeah? So this is the main advantage of an automated system. Okay, let's step back and see which other situations we have. What I've been talking about so far are sender and recipients in an environment that is either aware of the need for encryption or has the personnel and the infrastructure to deal with it. But there is another group of users, and those are our customers. The customers are most likely not in a situation, especially when we talk about retail, the typical consumers. Here we are suddenly faced with thousands, hundreds of thousands of users who want to communicate with us, who are willing to share confidential information, or we are going to send confidential information to them, but we do not, we are not in a position to make them install security-related software. And even if we would probably not be willing to support them. Because think about your friends and family, how many different technologies they are using. Linux and Mac and Windows, browsers and mail clients, Gmail, Hotmail, Lotus Live, all of that. You don't want to support all of those infrastructures just because you are going to send out an information that is worth encrypting but not really highly confidential. Think about the bills for your mobile phones. This is my example for those scenarios. There used to be a time when I received monthly bills from my mobile service provider, and it contained a couple of personal informations. My name, my address. There was a time when my phone number was on there. Because I had a detailed report, there were informations about the people that I have